Thanos. You know, the big purple guy. The dude had the Infinity Gauntlet, an army, and the power to rewrite reality, basically. He was unstoppable, and yet he lost. Why he could have won? Thanos had the ultimate cheat code. With a snap, he could do whatever he wanted. Double resources? Done. Make everyone less greedy? Easy. But no, he went straight for mass genocide like that was the only option. Smart guy, terrible problem-solving skills. Why he lost? First mistake? Overcomplicating things. Instead of wiping out half of all life, he could have just, I don't know, made infinite food and housing. He had to be dramatic. Second mistake? Forgetting about time travel. He destroyed the stones, thinking that was checkmate, but didn't consider that people in superhero movies always find a way. Even worse, he left Tony Stark alive, which, in MCU logic, means you already lost. Oh, and let's not forget his biggest L. He didn't account for a literal rat accidentally activating Ant-Man's quantum tunnel. The Mad Titan got undone by a rodent. Thanos wasn't just defeated, he was outplayed.
Help me, please.
He had every advantage and still lost because he couldn't see past his own ego. Next time, maybe use the Reality Stone for some critical thinking. Next, Lord Voldemort, the guy who had unlimited magic, an army of loyal followers, and zero common sense. Why he could have won? Dude was the strongest dark wizard in history. He had Death Eaters, influence, and literally couldn't die as long as his Horcruxes existed. He could have just chilled, ruled from the shadows, and lived forever as the ultimate evil mastermind. Why he lost? Instead of laying low, he decided to spend years obsessing over one baby. Like, you've got world domination plans, but you're out here stalking a toddler? Priorities, man. And when he finally tried to kill Harry, he used a cursed spell instead of, I don't know, a knife, a brick. The curse backfired, and he spent over a decade as a ghost mist thing because of it. Then he comes back and does the exact same thing again. Oh, and let's not forget he never figured out love. Literally. He just ignored an entire magical power source because it didn't fit his evil aesthetic. Voldemort had it all, but he fumbled hard. If he had just minded his business, he could have ruled the world. The Joker from The Dark Knight, aka the guy who almost broke Gotham but fumbled his own master plan. Why he could have won? For most of the movie, he was 10 steps ahead of everyone, outsmarting the cops, turning Harvey Dent into Two-Face, and proving Gotham was one bad day away from madness. He even had Batman struggling to keep up. Honestly, if he had just stopped there, he might have won. Why he lost? He got cocky. Instead of just blowing up the fairies himself, he put his faith in random people to do it for him. Spoiler alert, they didn't. Turns out most people aren't as crazy as him. Who knew? And then there's Harvey Dent. The Joker built his whole Agent of Chaos shtick around Dent, only for Two-Face to lose a coin toss battle to Batman. The Joker almost had Gotham in his hands, but he left too much to chance. Dr. Evil, the man, the myth, the bald-headed failure. He had everything an evil genius could want. A secret lair, an army of henchmen, and a literal space laser. Why he could have won? Let's be real, Dr. Evil actually had solid setups. He kidnapped world leaders, controlled powerful weapons, and even invented time travel at one point. He could have been the ultimate villain if he had just acted instead of talking. Why he lost? Instead of demanding trillions, he asked for $1 million, which even in the 60s was like pocket change for world governments. Dude didn't even check inflation rates. And let's not forget his biggest weakness, the classic villain monologue. Every time he captured Austin Powers, instead of just finishing him, he'd start talking, explaining, and stalling, which, spoiler alert, always led to Austin escaping. Dr. Evil had all the resources but lost because he was too busy being extra. Sauron, the Dark Lord, the ruler of Mordor, the guy with an unstoppable army of orcs, Nazgul, and a massive flaming eye that literally watched everything, except the one place that could destroy him. Why he could have won? Dude had Middle-earth on lock. His armies were massive, his spies were everywhere, and he had one of the most powerful artifacts ever created, the One Ring. With it, he was practically a god. He could corrupt minds, dominate weaker beings, and even make elves rethink their whole immortality gig. Why he lost? He made the dumbest decision in villain history. He put all his power into a tiny piece of jewelry, a ring, something that could be stolen, lost, or, dropped into a volcano. Not only that, but he didn't even guard Mount Doom properly. You'd think with an entire evil empire, he'd post at least one security guard near the lava pit. But Frodo and Sam walked right in like it was a free tourist attraction. Sauron really said, let's put my entire soul in a ring and then lose it for 3,000 years. Genius move, buddy. Team Rocket, the most persistent yet incompetent villains in Pokemon history. Jesse, James, and Meowth have spent literal decades chasing a single electric rodent
Pikachu.
and failing every single time. Why they could have won. Team Rocket wasn't just two goofballs and a talking cat. They had connections, high-tech gadgets, and an entire criminal organization backing them. Giovanni, their boss, had legendary Pokemon, secret labs, and actual evil schemes that weren't just steal Pikachu. Jesse and James also had some of the strongest Pokemon in the series, but instead of using them wisely, they always challenged Ash to 1v1 fights they had no chance of winning. Why they lost? Their entire life goal was stealing Pikachu, a Pokemon that isn't even legendary. Like, at some point you'd think they'd pivot. Maybe steal a Dragonite or raid a Pokemon lab. But nope, they stuck to their terrible business model and failed 99% of the time. Also, they announced their crimes in a full theatrical performance every single time, giving Ash plenty of warning. Team Rocket's real crime isn't Pokemon theft. It's wasting unlimited resources on a single Pikachu while Giovanni probably wonders why he hired them. Jadis, the White Witch, had one job: stay in power. And for a whole century, she actually did it. She froze Narnia in a never-ending winter, wiped out her enemies, and had an army of giant wolves, ogres, and all kinds of nightmare fuel. Why she could have won? For 100 years, she was untouchable. She ruled Narnia with an iron and very frosty grip, turning anyone who crossed her into stone. She even had spies everywhere, ensuring that no one could rise against her. She literally killed Aslan, the only real threat to her power. Why she lost? Then she somehow got taken down by 4 random kids and a lion that came back from the dead. She had 100 years to prepare for this prophecy, and what did she do? Absolutely nothing. No backup plan, no alternative strategies. She just rolled with the classic "I'll fight them head-on" approach. Also, she fully trusted Edmund, a kid who betrayed his own family for candy. That alone should have been a red flag. Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz might be one of the smartest villains ever, but he's also the biggest walking L in cartoon history. This guy can build a time machine in a day, invent lasers that alter reality, and create mind control devices, but can't figure out how to win against a single platypus. Why he could have won? Doofenshmirtz is a genius. He's got a fully equipped evil lab, unlimited funding somehow, and a new innator every single episode. He literally made a machine that could turn people into zombies, one that could erase the tri-state area, and another that could control the entire East Coast. Why he lost? First, he never stopped monologuing. Like every single time, he'd waste precious minutes explaining his plan to Perry, giving the platypus just enough time to break free and ruin everything. Second, he installed a self-destruct button on almost every invention. His own daughter, Vanessa, was constantly unimpressed, which probably crushed his villainous spirit a little. Doofenshmirtz could have ruled the world if he just stopped explaining his plans, and maybe hired a life coach instead of building death rays. And there you have it, villains who had everything going for them, except basic common sense. And if you have any video ideas, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more.